Hey guys, Ivan here, and are you ready for a very interesting comparison? We have Big RAMY, 2017 Mr. Olympia runner-up, and 2019 Mr. Olympia runner-up William BONAC. Why is this comparison so interesting? That's because these guys have completely different types of physiques. They both are very impressive, very good looking bodybuilders, but they have some flaws. They both have flaws, of course everybody has flaws, but basically what is interesting here is that William's flaw is the structure, and that's Big RAMY's biggest advantage. But Big RAMY's weakness is conditioning, which is William BONAC's strength. So that's what makes this comparison so interesting. We're gonna see in a moment. Here you can see them both at about 8 weeks out of Arnold Classic 2020. And no, we are not comparing these two photos, because Big RAMY here looks very good conditioned, but BONAC not so much, although we know that BONAC can get shredded in like 4 weeks or something, and Big RAMY, we don't have a guarantee. He was never conditioned basically. If they were competing like this, obviously Big RAMY would win. He definitely looks more impressive right here. But come showtime, come Arnold Classic 2020, we know that William BONAC is going to be peeled. But we can't be so sure about Big RAMY, can we? How about we begin right now? For this comparison, I chose their two best editions in my opinion, and that would be Big RAMY's Mr. Olympia 2017, where he was a runner-up, and 2019 Arnold Classic version of William BONAC. 2019 Mr. Olympia, William BONAC was great, he was very conditioned, but he was small. He was much smaller than he was before, so I don't think this is his best edition ever. And Big RAMY's 2018 Mr. Olympia version was just soft, way off with conditioning. So we're not gonna use those, we're gonna use these two. And let's begin with the first pose, front double bicep. I told you before that RAMY has structure over BONAC, but right here in this pose, Big RAMY's structure doesn't really shine that much. He does have a better V-taper than William BONAC, but his stomach is pretty much a mess. His legs were a little bit smaller in 2017, they weren't that great. They weren't that big, I think he tried to downsize them a little. His arms may seem fuller, but they don't really flow that well with his physique, with his pose. Now on the other hand, we have William BONAC with that huge waist. That whole midsection is just huge, just too big part of his physique, and it doesn't look very impressive. But you take a look at William's legs and you compare them to RAMY's, the conditioning, the details. You take a look at their arms and you may notice that Big RAMY has better insertions, but he is not as conditioned. And this pose you can go either way basically, whatever you prefer. Better V-taper or better fullness combined with good conditioning, more polish and so on, but basically because of the V-taper, I would still go with Big RAMY. Close, very close. If you chose William BONAC, I understand you completely. It most certainly isn't an easy choice, but I still go with RAMY. Also, I forgot to mention about their height. There is a difference in height and overall mass. Big RAMY is definitely taller and bigger. I tried to get the ratio right, but I'm probably wrong at least a little. But it's going to be perfect at the Arnold Classic, so wait for 7 weeks or so. And if you don't want to wait so long, you can watch it right here. This is the best that I can give you. Let's go with the next pose. Alright, next up we have front lat spread. And the difference is obvious. Big RAMY is not as conditioned as BONAC. BONAC has better details, more polish. His quads are more round, and he's overall just bigger, pretty much. But he doesn't have the structure. His waist is not as small as Big RAMY's in this pose. His V-taper is not that good. You can say he doesn't have a V-taper. He has that type of bottle-shaped physique, really. He doesn't have a V-taper. His waist is huge. His chest is also too small compared to Big RAMY's. Big RAMY's chest is just very wide. His shoulders are wide. His waist is narrow. Everything else is close on BONAC's side, you can say, but because of the V-taper, because of the structure, I give this one to Big RAMY easily. Let's go with the next one. Now here, structure and conditioning meet again, and also the muscle thickness, the density, the maturity that BONAC has and RAMY doesn't really have, but what RAMY has is the size and the V-taper overall structure, so it's very close. When you take a look at William's lower back, you can see a lot of thick muscle down there. But then your eyes go to Big Ramy's lower back and it's much different, it's much more shallow. Also, the striations are not that deep, conditioning is just on BONAC's side. The glutes are also thicker, BONAC's glutes I mean, and the legs are pretty much close, but you can see that the RAMY has bigger legs. But still, you can just choose, thickness and conditioning versus structure. So it's very close because of that, but yet very different. Who would you go with? Me personally, I'm a huge fan of structure, but I just can't ignore William BONAC's thickness and conditioning. It's still very close, I can't decide right now. I gotta admit guys, I didn't make a script before I made this video, I'm making these decisions as I go, so right now I can't make up my mind, but I think I would rather go with Big Ramy just because of the structure. Again, if you take a look at everything else, BONAC is better, but just the structure. The V-taper, the narrow waist, Big Ramy is just bigger, wider, and so I give this pose to Big Ramy, yeah. BONAC does have a better back. He does have a better back, he does have better conditioning, more density, more thickness, but he doesn't have the structure, and me personally, I really like a good structure, so I guess I would go with Big Ramy, but it's a very, very close. It depends on what do you prefer or what the judges prefer. Now we come to BONAC's back lat spread, and you may say that this is not the best version of William BONAC's back lat spread, but that's it. That's it, it doesn't get much better than this. So still you can see that BONAC has thicker back, but there is no shape to that back. There is no V-taper. Look at Ramy's back. Look at that cobra back action going on. And look at the glutes. His glutes are actually looking shredded here in this pose. Yeah, that was really good conditioning of Big Ramy. Not great, nothing compared to Phil Heath, of course, or Sean Rodden or anything like that, but compared to William BONAC right here, if William goes for fullness at the Arnold Classic 2020, it's gonna be Big Ramy's game. I think he's going to destroy him if he goes for that. I think BONAC should go for conditioning and hope that the judges will reward that. But here, this pose is not even a joke, not even arguable. Come on, it's really obvious. Big Ramy takes this one easily in the back. Alright, next up we have side chest. And if you guys think that this ratio is right, I think I got it pretty okay. I think this is their size difference, but it's probably not ideal. Once again we have a side chest pose, and you can see more striations on Ramy's legs, actually. His glutes and glute hamstring tie-in looks better, his hamstrings overall look bigger, thicker, his quads as well. It's very close to the legs, but I would go with Ramy, and then you can go with arms, and I prefer Ramy's arms. I prefer his chest, definitely. Look at the size of his chest, it's much wider. BONAC has such a narrow, kind of soaked in chest, right? It's not as broad as Big Ramy's. So it's still a very good pose for BONAC because he shows a lot of density, but I would go with Big Ramy with this one rather easily. Yeah, Big Ramy wins this one. Big Ramy wins side chest. Alright, next up we have a side tricep, and I don't think we need to go over this one. It's a rather easy win for Big Ramy. Take a look at their triceps, night and day difference. Take a look at their stomach, their midsection. Big Ramy can really flex his abs and really show ab separation and a flat midsection, while William BONAC is really struggling to pull his stomach in, and it still doesn't look very good. His waist is blown up. Chest of Big Ramy is thicker, legs are looking bigger, more straightened also. Everything on Big Ramy right here is on another level, Abs and thighs is the next pose. Horrible, disgusting mess, both of them. Let me just say it, it's true. Today's modern bodybuilders are rarely good at this pose. We should actually consider excluding this pose from the mandatory poses because nobody can do it really. But here you can see that it's very close because they both suck at this. They are no good. Leg striations are definitely on BONAC's side, but maybe it could be just lighting. BONAC has hernia on his stomach and his abs are just a big mess. No separation, not even a 4-pack. Barely you can call this a 2-pack. So Big Ramy definitely does have straight abs, and he actually can show you his abs and a little bit better V-taper, but he struggles to hold his arms behind his neck like this, so it's not very comfortable for him, not very comfortable for us to watch this. So very good, very bad pose, very bad pose for both of them, but I would go with Big Ramy because of the abstractions, but still they both suck big time. By keeping this pose in, we may see some aesthetic physiques who will actually do better, just like Sean Roden. But if we decide to go with this path, mass monsters, then we should actually exclude this pose from bodybuilding. And that is definitely a topic for a different video, for a separate video. It's a huge question and I may very well make a video about it. Anyways, we come to our last pose for today. It's most muscular, and as much as these guys suck at abs and thighs, that's how good they are at the most muscular. Now this ratio is probably a little bit off. BONAC looks much smaller than Big Ramy. I don't think this is the correct size ratio, and still he beats him. He still beats him because of all the thickness that he has and the conditioning, all the separation and everything. Big Ramy is very good at this one. He has that broad chest, big shoulders, very wide through the back, to the shoulders, and big legs, really huge legs. It is very close, but I would go with William BONAC because of all that separation and all that fullness and all that 3D muscle popping right at you. So, very close this one, but I would go with William BONAC. Anyways, we'll see what happens at the 2020 Arnold Classic. I believe this is going to be your top 2 unless Big Ramy screws up. Unless Big Ramy shows not conditioned at all. If he comes off, Dexter may beat him, and not Patrick Moore. I don't really see that happening because he's too small for these guys. Maybe Dexter, but probably this is going to be your top 2. I believe Big Ramy is bringing the conditioning. It's going to be structure versus fullness and conditioning and thickness, basically. All Ramy needs to do is come decent, just in decent conditioning, and with his structure, he will beat William BONAC. I see that happening very easily. What do you guys think? Tell me down below. Tell me who you think will win Arnold Classic if this is the top 2, which probably will be the case. If you enjoyed the video, guys, like it. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. All the best, guys, and bye-bye.